Good evening, live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi unplanes for New Delhi from Muscat after a successful three-nation visit to Jordan, Ethiopia and Oman. India and Oman signed comprehensive economic partnership agreement. Prime Minister Modi also addresses business forum in Muscat. Prime Minister Modi conferred with Order of Oman Award for his exceptional contribution to India-Oman ties and his visionary leadership. EU leaders meet in Brussels for a two-day summit, discussion on defense long-term budget as well as using frozen Russian assets for Ukraine on the agenda. And Australia promises new laws to target hate and radicalization. Prime Minister Albanese says measures aim to banish evil scourge of anti-Semitism from his country. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has successfully concluded his three-nation tour as he departed from Oman after visiting Jordan and Ethiopia. The visit to Oman holds significant importance. It marked the completion of 70 years of diplomatic ties between the two nations. On the first leg of his visit to Jordan, Prime Minister Modi held productive discussions with King Abdullah II in Amman. Later, visited Ethiopia, Horn of Africa, where India and Ethiopia witnessed new dawn in diplomatic ties with the two-day visit of Prime Minister Modi. And in the final leg of his visit to Oman, Prime Minister Modi was bestowed with the Order of Oman Award on Thursday for his exceptional contribution to India-Oman ties and his visionary leadership. The award was presented to Prime Minister Modi by Sultan Haitham bin Tariq of Oman. It has been previously awarded to Queen Elizabeth, Queen Maxim, Emperor Akito, Nelson Mandela, King Abdullah of Jordan. This is the 29th such global honor for Prime Minister Modi. Later, both leaders exchange gifts with each other. Prime Minister Modi on Thursday met with Sultan Haitham bin Tariq in Muscat. Both leaders noted that completion of 70 years of diplomatic relations between India and Oman is a landmark in bilateral partnership. They explored ways to further add greater depth to India-Oman strategic partnership. Both the leaders exchanged views on a broad range of topics including defense, security, trade and investment, energy, agriculture, technology, new and emerging areas, culture, and people-to-people ties, among others. They also discussed issues of regional and global interest. Prime Minister Modi and Sultan of Oman also witnessed the signing of comprehensive economic partnership agreement between the two nations. The leaders welcomed the signing of CEPA as a milestone in bilateral ties, affirming that it would significantly strengthen India and Oman's strategic partnership. And earlier today, Prime Minister Modi participated in India-Oman Business Summit in Muscat. Addressing the event, Prime Minister lauded the deep-rooted India-Oman friendship. The business forum was also attended by industry representatives from India as well as Oman. It highlighted the rich potential to deepen economic linkages. The forum also invited businesses from Oman to invest and innovate in India.
आज हम विश्वास के साथ कह सकते हैं कि समंदर की लहरें बदलती हैं, मौसम बदलते हैं, लेकिन भारत ओमान की दोस्ती हर मौसम में और मजबूत होती है। लहर के साथ नई ऊंचाई को छूती है।
We now take you live to MEA press briefing.
Namaskar and noon. On the last leg of his visit to three nations, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi arrived in the Sultanate of Oman yesterday on the afternoon of 17 December 2025. The Prime Minister visited Oman on 17-18 December at the invitation of the Sultan of Oman, His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq. At the Muscat airport, the Prime Minister was received by Deputy Prime Minister of Defence Affairs of Oman, His Highness Sayyid Shihab bin Tariq Al Said. The Deputy Prime Minister was also accompanied by other cabinet members and senior officials of Oman. A ceremonial guard of honor was accorded to the Prime Minister. An official dinner banquet was hosted by the Deputy Prime Minister for Defence Affairs in honor of the Prime Minister on the evening of 17th December. Prime Minister had a bilateral meeting with His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq today on 18th December. There was a tete-a-tete between the two leaders followed by delegation-level talks. It may be recalled that His Majesty the Sultan of Oman visited India in December 2023. This is Prime Minister's second visit to Oman after his last visit in February 2018. This visit is of special importance as India and Oman are celebrating 70 years of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries. During their interaction today, the two leaders expressed their satisfaction with the excellent state of bilateral relations between India and Oman. They felt that the strategic partnership between the two countries was strengthening in several areas covering trade, investment, defense, security, technology, education, energy, culture, space, agriculture, and people-to-people ties. They also viewed the implementation of the joint vision document, which was adopted during the visit of His Majesty, the Sultan of Oman to India in December 2023. Both leaders noted that the relations have transformed into a multifaceted partnership today. In view of the long-standing historical ties and civilization linkages between India and Oman, His Majesty the Sultan Haitham bin Tariq conferred the Order of Oman on the Honorable Prime Minister. The two leaders further exchanged views on regional and international issues of mutual interest. While expressing concern over the humanitarian situation in Gaza and calling for the safe and timely delivery of humanitarian aid to civilians, the two leaders welcomed signing of the first phase of the Gaza peace plan and reiterated their support for it. The leaders condemned terrorism in all its forms and manifestations, reaffirming that no justification can ever be accepted for terrorist acts. The Prime Minister also thanked the Sultan of Oman for taking care of the welfare of more than 675,000 Indian community members in Oman. During this visit, India and Oman signed several agreements and MOUs. The signing of the India-Oman Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, CEPA, during this visit is an important milestone in the bilateral economic relations between the two countries. It is expected that this agreement will help in creating a favorable environment for the growth of trade between the two countries and unlock new economic opportunities. A joint statement was also issued at the end of this visit. His Majesty the Sultan of Oman hosted a lunch in honor of the Prime Minister. Earlier today, the Prime Minister addressed the India-Oman Business Forum, which was attended by business leaders from both the countries. The forum witnessed participation by business representatives from both India and Oman, covering several sectors such as energy, agriculture, logistics, infrastructure, manufacturing, education, health, and connectivity. Following his address at the Business Forum, the Honorable Prime Minister graced a community event where he interacted with the students and Indian community members in Oman. The event was attended by more than 3,000 people, including more than 700 students. The Prime Minister addressed the Indian community at this event. Following the conclusion of his highly successful visit to Oman, the Honorable Prime Minister departed for India on the afternoon of 18 December. Thank you.
That was a press statement on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's historic visit to Oman. The statement said that the two leaders, Prime Minister Modi and the Sultan of Oman, discussed a whole gamut of issues. The highlight of the visit was, of course, the signing of the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, CEPA, between India and Oman. Moving on, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky arrived in Brussels on Thursday to attend a key European Union summit. EU leaders have gathered to hold discussions on defense cooperation, the long-term EU budget, and the possible use of frozen Russian assets to support Ukraine. The European Union views Russia-Ukraine conflict as a direct threat to its own security. European Commission Chief von der Leyen has said she would not leave the summit without an agreement on financing Ukraine for the next couple of years. The talks are seen as critical as officials warn that without EU financial assistance, Ukraine could face a severe funding shortfall by the second quarter of next year.
The European Council has committed itself last time that we will close the financing gap of Ukraine for the next 2 years. We're speaking about 137 billion euros that are necessary. It's the estimate, our own estimate, and the estimate of the IMF. And we have committed to cover 2/3 of it, 90 billion euros. We'll not leave the European Council without a solution for the funding for Ukraine for the next 2 years. And the two options, one of them then has to be agreed in the European Council.
Moving on, Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has vowed sweeping crackdown on extremism and anti-Semitism on Thursday, promising new laws targeting hate preachers, visa cancellations for those spreading division, and federal offences for serious racial vilification. The announcement came as mourners farewelled 10-year-old Matilda, who is the youngest victim of Sunday's terrorist attack at a Hanukkah celebration on Sydney's Bondi Beach. A father and son gunmen, Sajid Akram, who was killed by the police, and Naveed Akram, who has been charged with murder and terrorism, were allegedly inspired by Islamic State ideology. The duo killed 15 people in the shooting.
These anti-Semitic terrorist attacks will not be successful with their objective, which is to divide us as a nation. We will continue to come together as a nation. It would appear that there is evidence that this was inspired by a terrorist organisation, by ISIS. Now, some of the evidence which has been procured, including the presence of Islamic State flags in the vehicle that has been seized, are a part of that. Radical perversion of Islam is absolutely a problem. It is something that has been identified globally as a problem as well. ISIS is created by an evil ideology that has been called out not just by the Australian government but globally as well.
Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Chief of Army Staff General Upendra Dwivedi virtually addresses 3rd Land Forces Summit. Dutch Minister of Foreign Affairs of Netherlands holds talks with India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh in New Delhi. A report on 2nd WHO Global Summit on Traditional Medicine.
for sustainability to become more than just a statement. It needs to be practical and seamlessly fit into our lives.
If we are thinking about a net zero economy. And obviously, automobile sector is at the center of this transformation. Instead of buying new vehicle, if I can retrofit and upgrade my existing vehicle, environmentally speaking, it is superior.
Zero waste means repair, reuse, analyze.
We realized that if women became involved in decision making and generated income, the whole family would benefit. Before, we needed a lot of manpower to handle the waste. But now, with the conveyor belt,
It converts the waste into electricity, powering 2 farms.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Netherlands, David van Wiel, is in India on a state visit. FM Wiel arrived in New Delhi on Thursday. The visiting minister met with India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. The leaders also held a bilateral meeting along with their delegation. Earlier, FM Wiel visited the Consulate of Netherlands in Mumbai. His visit and engagements are focused on further deepening and diversifying India-Netherlands bilateral ties. India's Chief of Army Staff General Upendra Dwivedi on Thursday virtually addressed the 3rd Land Forces Summit hosted by Japan Ground Self-Defense Force. The summit was attended by chiefs of armies and senior military leaders from Australia, Japan, Philippines, Malaysia and the United States. At the Indo-Pacific Land Forces Summit, Indian Army Chief General Upendra Dwivedi proposed Ikigai framework to boost regional military cooperation, standing for interoperability, knowledge, international humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, generative tech partnerships, assurance and integrated logistics. It rests on shared diagnosis, principles and actions. The framework aims to enhance multilateral land power collaboration for peace, stability and prosperity across the Indo-Pacific. The Indian Army contingent for Exercise Desert Cyclone 2 arrived in Abu Dhabi ahead of the joint military exercise with the UAE Land Forces scheduled from December 18th to 30th. The nearly 2-week exercise will focus on enhancing interoperability and operational synergy in urban operations and build-up areas. The Indian contingent comprises 45 personnel, primarily from Battalion of the Mechanized Infantry Regiment. The UAE Land Forces contingent of similar strength will be represented by the 53 Mechanized Infantry Battalion. The second WHO Global Summit on Traditional Medicine was inaugurated yesterday, placed India's ancient wisdom firmly on the world map. Among the key highlights was the dedicated special session on ashwagandha, examining its role and relevance as traditional medicine at the global level. Here's more.
Held in New Delhi, the second Global WHO Summit brought together leading professors, scientists, researchers and members of the global medical fraternity. The special session on ashwagandha drew wide participation, reflecting growing international interest in evidence-based traditional medicine. Experts discussed ashwagandha's therapeutic potential, particularly its adaptogenic properties, role in stress management, immunity support, and overall well-being. Speakers emphasized the need to bridge classical knowledge with modern scientific validation, standardization, and global regulatory frameworks.
अश्वगंधा पर आयोजित सत्र अत्यंत प्रासंगिक है। मुझे पूर्ण विश्वास है कि यह सत्र वैश्विक श्रोताओं में अश्वगंधा के सुरक्षित एवं साक्ष्य आधारित उपयोग की समझ को और अधिक समृद्ध करेगा।
The session underlined ashwagandha's journey from ancient Ayurvedic text to contemporary research laboratories, positioning it as a promising natural intervention in preventive and integrative healthcare systems worldwide.
So we all know the history of ashwagandha. It's one of the single most important botanicals in Ayurveda. But that means it's one of the single most important botanicals on the face of the planet. Ayurveda is the oldest living system of medicine on earth. And when you have an herb like ashwagandha has its highest respect in that system, that means it is one of the most important botanicals for human health on the planet.
The focused deliberations at the WHO Global Summit signal a larger shift, where traditional medicine, backed by science and global cooperation, is finding its rightful place in modern healthcare discourse. Ashwagandha, rooted in tradition, is now stepping confidently onto the global stage. With input from experts across disciplines, the summit reaffirmed that the future of healthcare may well lie in harmonizing age-old wisdom with modern science. Kriti Vadhera's report for DD India.
In other news, in Nepal, unified Marxist-Leninist party members reaffirmed their confidence in KP Sharma Oli, re-electing him as the chairman of the Communist Party of Nepal for a third term through the party's 11th National Congress. Oli got 1,663 votes and defeated his rival Ishwar Pokhrel in election. He got 564 votes. Meanwhile, the 11th National Congress of the CPN-UML has elected other office bearers of the party as well. Some weather news. India continues to experience cold wave conditions and dense fog this week, with temperatures dipping below 3 degrees Celsius across many parts of the country. Meanwhile, airports are reporting low visibility and passengers are advised to check flight schedules before travelling. Take a look at this report.
Cold wave conditions continue to upend normal life across large parts of India during the past week. Severe cold wave conditions have been reported across multiple states of India, including Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi, East Uttar Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra and Telangana on different days during the week. Weekly average maximum temperatures remained below normal over parts of West, Central, North and Northwest India, while minimum temperatures showed mixed trends across the country. Dense fog conditions continue to prevail across parts of northern India, impacting visibility during early morning hours. Very dense fog was observed over Odisha and East Uttar Pradesh, while dense fog was reported over Himachal Pradesh, Bihar, Uttarakhand and several northeastern states. Airport Authority of India in a statement has said that persistent fog is affecting airport operations and advised passengers to check their flight status with airlines, monitor official airport updates and plan their journey with additional travel time. Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport stated that all flight operations are currently normal, while advising travellers to stay in touch with their respective airlines for real-time updates as foggy conditions persist over the region. With temperatures expected to remain below normal in many parts of the country and fog likely to persist in the north, residents are advised to plan their travel carefully and take necessary precautions. Bureau Report, DD India.
Mumbai's Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj International Airport recorded a robust passenger traffic performance in November 2025, handling over 48.88 lakh passengers during the month. The strong showing was driven by sustained festive and winter travel demand, supported by extensive domestic and international connectivity. The airport registered its highest ever single-day passenger volume of 1.76 lakh passengers on November 29th, reflecting continued growth across travel segments. In sports, Australia's Nathan Lyon became the 6th highest wicket taker in Test cricket during the second day of the third match in the ongoing Ashes series at Adelaide Oval on Thursday. Lyon required 2 scats to go past the compatriot and former pacer Glenn McGrath's tally of 563 wickets. 38-year-old off-spinner did the job in the first over of his 141st Test. Lyon is the most successful Test bowler amongst active cricketers, with fellow Aussie Mitchell Starc in second place. Overall, amongst Australians, Lyon is only behind the legendary Shane Warne, who has 708 wickets. And as we conclude, we're leaving you with a namaste as Prime Minister Modi has departed from Oman after successfully completing his two-nation visit. Deputy Prime Minister of Oman, who is also the brother of Sultan of Oman, does a namaste as he bids farewell to Prime Minister Modi from Oman. Here's how. Prime Minister earlier concluded the historic visit to Oman and is now on his way back home. That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan this QR code on your screen and download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.